Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm here with my friend Ben.
Hello.
And we just saw The Green Knight for the very first time. Obviously, we just saw it in theaters, and this is a movie review on that film. And this was both of ours. You said that it was like your probably number one most anticipated of the year.
Yeah.
And this is definitely up there for mine as well. And I think I enjoyed this movie. There are definitely some really creative and how should I put this? Not jaw-dropping moments, but surprising and in a good way, I think, moments. And we literally just saw the movie. We've had a little bit of time to think about it, but this is definitely kind of like an on a whim review, which I don't love doing, but I mean, these are really kind of our first thoughts on the film. And so one of the things that I like most about this movie, I think, is how much it gives you, and also the fantasy feel, because like I mentioned this in the car on the way back, there's a I'm not going to get into like huge spoilers, we'll try to go around them, but there's one scene when he has to help a girl who's like living in a house return something to her, and I said to you, it's literally like a side quest in a video game. And I like how he encounters like all these different, they may be enemies or friends like trying to help him out, or just random people along the way. So I think like starting at the castle and then the journey and then all the stuff that he encounters on the journey, that goes with the story, feeling like the mood of this movie, how it's medieval, and it really fits into that like fantasy.
The world building
feel.
was very good.
Yeah, and also how it just gives you a bit of everything. Like this movie really does show a lot of different stuff that you may not expect going into it, but I think it's definitely good that it has it in there. So
they definitely used the barren landscape. I don't know where it's filmed. I feel like it was filmed somewhere in like Scotland, that type of northern Europe area. Mm-hmm. But they definitely used that barren landscape to their advantage, and really kind of create this like gritty type medieval, almost like The Witch feeling.
Yeah, you said that it was almost like The Witch combined with Macbeth.
Yeah,
like the remake of Macbeth with Michael Fassbender. It kind of felt like that as well. And which, I mean, makes sense. That's kind of around the same time period. But I also like how all the fantasy elements, like those giant walking creatures, which we're seeing in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. I will get into the trailer in a little bit. I haven't mentioned this to you, but I like how all of that fits in. It doesn't feel rushed or like, oh, what's that doing in the movie? Like, there's a talking fox as well. And I think that all goes well. And it's almost like it's natural when you see a movie like this. Especially like in this time period and whatnot. And I mean, the big crux of the movie, when the Green Knight has his head cut off and then, he's like a supernatural creature almost. Like that's kind of the main point of the movie, so it makes sense that you would be able to accept all of these fantasy elements, I keep on saying that, but so easily. And I think that was another good part of this movie.
Yeah, I think it definitely utilized like kind of normalizing you to the sense that this is going to be like magic and stuff like they didn't overdo it. Like forgot it was like the World of Warcraft movie or what. I forget, it was based off some story or video game. Mm-hmm. But they kind of went over the top with the magic to the point that just kind of got silly.
Yeah.
With the CGI, they didn't really do this. It was very subtle magic and mystical atmosphere, which I kind of liked. The giant scene too. I'm not gonna get too into detail because I'm not gonna spoil it. But I thought the CGI wasn't bad. Like, I thought it was going to be hit or miss for me.
The main thing was the fox, I think. When you saw the close-up of the fox talking, I was like, if only they could have, like, pulled the camera back a little bit and you wouldn't see that it was so clearly CG. But, I mean, I think it all looked good. I also mentioned this, that I feel like this movie was, like, a bigger budget than A24 usually does. Because, like, we also mentioned this in the car. Movies like The Witch, The Lighthouse, Hereditary, and like Midsommar, they're all generally in one location, and you could kind of see where the budget went. Like for The Lighthouse, like you could tell that it was to build the lighthouse and like a few effects here and there, practical effects, and the costumes and stuff like that. You could kind of see where like I think a $6 million budget went. But with this movie, it's I'm kind of interested to see, first of all, what the budget was, and also if they used real locations, obviously outside, I'm assuming it was. That wasn't just like a soundstage or anything. And also the indoor scenes, if they used already existent like buildings, or if they built their own for some scenes. And then obviously we mentioned the CG at different points. But yeah, I thought like even a movie like Uncut Gems, which really kind of jumps around, like it's in a good amount of different locations, I could see them using like buildings, kind of like doing the Stanley Kubrick Clockwork Orange method when like they really tried to keep that budget low, so they used existing buildings.
They took advantage of New York City basically.
Yeah.
Or Boston, or wherever.
Yeah, Uncut Gems, and yeah, kind of the same as the Clockwork Orange, but yeah, with this movie it was a much bigger epic movie, which I was pleasantly not even surprised with because I kind of saw that coming, but I did like that about this film.
It's a classic Odyssey story you're going in for. Point A to point B.
Yeah.
And you just kind of are there for the ride.
Even kind of has like some Homer's Odyssey like elements to it.
Like the trailer kind of made it. I guess if you read the poem and like watch the animation, you know what to expect. But like the trailer almost made it seem a lot more complicated than it was. I feel like
you said, journey like point A to point B. That's pretty much it, and then stuff along the way. But one thing about the trailer, I feel like it might have revealed a bit too much.
Just a tad.
Not so much the like where the story goes and the spoilers in the movie, because that would just
I think it was perfect at like not giving away too much story-wise.
I thought the first teaser trailer, which came out like over a year ago, because this was supposed to come out last year, but I thought the second trailer, the official trailer, like the thing with the giants, I wish they could have like, I feel like that would have been much more of a whoa, like surprise in the theater when you first saw that. Like, holy shit, that's pretty cool. But I was like, when I saw the hand going over the mountain, in the teaser trailer, when you saw the hand, you were like, oh shit, what's that gonna be? And then in the official trailer, when I showed the giants, I mean, it was like, oh, that's what they are. I feel like if they just like saved that and a couple other things for the film, for like the first release, I think it would have been a bit more impactful. But other than that, I thought the first trailer is fucking awesome, and the second trailer was good too. But I think, if they kept some things in their back pocket, and as wise men once said, didn't blow their load too early, then I think...
How'd you sneak that one in there? Speaking of blowing a load...
Yes. Yes,
we won't get too into that part, but just know if you've ever seen...
the way you're trying to get around this.
There's a B-roll of cum.
That's one way to put it, I guess. Yeah.
We're just gonna leave it there. We're not gonna talk about
that. If you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. But all right. Well, you talked about the cum.
Got that out of the way. That was on the checklist.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, moving on. There is a big. I'm going to try to dance around this, but there's a big. What's it called when there's like an object that's so essential to like a story? It's not a motif, or I guess it could be. It's one thing that you wouldn't expect the story to almost revolve around in a way, especially when you see the ending, and that is a little green. It looks like a scarf, but it's like a waistband, like tie thing. Mm-hmm. It's something like that.
Like a rag.
Yeah, and Sir Gawain or Gawain. I say Gawain leading up to this movie, but then they say Gawain in the movie, so I'm not really sure. But anyways, he has that in possession, and then it kind of it shows up and goes away at certain moments, and then when it comes back in certain ways, you don't really... It
almost means different things, almost.
Yeah, and especially at the end. Like, you don't really expect anything of it at first, especially is involved in that jizz scene. When you saw that, what'd you say to me?
Did they just do a B-roll of jizz?
Yes, they do in this movie, so just a little warning.
Imagine if you're a director, how you, like...
Also, you said it looked pretty accurate.
How do you... The real question is, how do you, like, put that in? All right, guys. Like, you're talking to a camera crew, and you're like, all right, boom mic here. Let's go get the cameras over here.
We're gonna do the pan.
Gotta do a nice close-up.
So, Dev, can you just, like, smear on your hand a little bit, and then soak it in the belt, and then squeeze it when the camera pans to you? Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's go.
Go get him, guys. But anyways, I do like Dev Patel in this movie. I was excited to see him in this, and I think he delivered okay.
Yeah, his character, I feel like, could have been really easy to hate.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this dude's a pussy, or oh, this dude's, like, arrogant. Like, yeah. They did him right. I think they did his character right.
I think he did a really good job, actually, at portraying this character. And other people in the movie as well. Ralph Ineson plays the Green Knight itself. I think his voice is fucking awesome.
Bro,
like,
when
I think it's pretty badass.
The monologue when they're reading over like the letter.
Yeah.
That voice was sweaty. I think I said to you,
yeah.
I'm like, that's a fire voiceover.
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
whatever
you did say that. And I think the look of the Green Knight is also pretty cool too. It doesn't look silly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that might have been because we've seen the trailer, so we knew what to expect. But still, I mean, I think it looks cool. And I think it, like, the costume and the head especially, I think his eyes, like his eyelids,
I think
it looks really good.
This is really minor, but I think the sound design and Foley type stuff they did was really good. Like the swords, like the way the Green Knight moves his limbs, you can feel the whole tree. Like the sound for this, like all the sounds and music. I think the soundtrack for this was also underrated as well. But I think just the audio like effects they use in this movie is very high end.
And you also said on our way there, it seems like a movie. Even before we saw it, it seems like a movie that you kind of have to see in theaters just to get like the full experience
it wouldn't
of it.
hit the same on a TV.
Yeah, if you're just
like,
sitting
let's
at
be
home.
honest, it wouldn't.
Yeah, and I think that's good about it too. Just feels more immersive, especially in a theater. And anyways, moving on to probably my biggest flaw with this movie. It has a few like small ones in my opinion here and there, but I wish they built up Gawain's character at the beginning a bit more, because they build it up as the journey goes along, and like when he meets new people and whatnot, they use that as kind of like an in to build him up a bit more and build his character. I wish they did a bit more at the beginning of the film though, because I feel like when he makes decisions later on, there's something like, I'm not going to spoil it, but he does have like a girlfriend, I guess, in King Arthur's castle, like in that vicinity, and then something happens later on. I feel like if they built him up and built up that relationship a bit more, this is just one example, then I feel like that decision that he makes later in the movie would feel more impactful, especially with the relationship side of
I would
that.
also like them to explore, make him more of like a clusterfuck, like make him more like, show that he's really like, I don't know, this is more like a creative decision, not as much like it was as, but maybe if he was like, he gets drunk in the beginning of the movie, and I feel like if they made that like almost like his character in the beginning, like he's always drunk or he's always drinking, like he's always goofing off or partying, I feel they give like undertones, but I feel like if they made that really part of his character, then we see that he's like, oh fuck, like I got myself into this, and now he's like mature almost on the journey. I feel like that would have been made the arc more satisfying. I feel like
especially at the end when he this is a, I'm not going to say the big spoiler, but if you've seen the movie then you know what I'm talking about, when he makes a decision that makes the Green Knight admire him in a way. That's all I'm going to say. Again, if you've seen the movie then you know what I'm talking about.
It's almost like there's a level of respect.
Yeah.
It's like between, like even in the beginning of the movie, it's not even really a spoiler. Like there's a level of respect between the Green Knight and.
Yeah.
That's literally the whole point of the game is you return a blow, I return a blow. It's a chivalry type.
Yeah,
thing.
I like the Green Knight character as well. He wasn't like cheap.
There's no bad guy in this.
Yeah.
Really, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like it's more like it's a.
Maybe that fucking little kid.
Little twerp. But like they paint the Green Knight as a villain. But you soon realize, like, in the beginning when he gives him the letter and it's a game, you realize that, like, he's not forcing anyone to do this. Like, you're physically going up.
Literally, when he got there in the end, which, that's in the trailer as well, when he returns to the Green Knight at the altar.
The Green Chapel.
Yeah, the Green Chapel. The Green Knight even says, he's like, oh, you came.
Good job.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like his character. Yeah, that was really my only big complaint with this movie. That I think drags it down a bit more than it had to. But yeah, I think all the performances were good, especially Dev Patel and Ralph Ineson, who was also in The Witch, and his wife in The Witch, Elizabeth Dickie, I think. She was the mom in The Witch, and she was also in this.
The King and Queen also, they, like, the aging they did on them was, like, the Queen had such big, baggy eyes. I was like, holy crap. But the one cool part when she was reading the letter in the beginning, and her eyes went green.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think everyone in this movie, and also the guy who plays, I'm expecting, like, a little kid, but the actor in real life is, I'm sure, like, mid-20s to 30, probably mid-20s. He was in Dunkirk and also Killing of a Sacred Deer. You probably know who I'm talking about, but he was in this movie. he was good. He was good being the asshole. And I said this afterwards. I was like, oh, I wanted to see him die. I wanted to see Gawain just fucking chop his head off. But that didn't happen, unfortunately. But anyways, I think we should get into the ending a little bit. Trying to avoid spoilers because the ending just I
put
think
like
wrapped everything up.
Put like a spoiler thing, like spoilers, time marker, and time marker.
Oh yeah, skip to this time on the screen right now if you don't want to hear spoilers. But anyways, we're going to get into that right now. The ending of this movie, basically, Gawain or Gawain, whatever, he is kneeled down in front of the Green Knight, and the Green Knight is about to return the blow, chop his head off, and then we get almost like a false escape when we have a vision of him leaving, running back, and then we have like a part when
he gets scared and then basically fakes killing the Green Knight, essentially.
Yeah, he runs away. He's like, I can't do this, I'm sorry. So he returns to the castle, and he ends up becoming the new King Arthur. Like, he's the king of that town. And they also did good aging on him, too, I thought.
Yeah, the gray in his beard was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was a big progression of time. And you said that you kind of could sense that it wasn't real.
Yeah, it was almost like too abrupt, almost. Like, it was too, like... At first, I was like, okay, so they're branching off from the original tale.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's an adaptation, so I guess we'll see where it goes. So I thought he was, in the beginning, I thought it was like, when they're doing, like, the journey where he's riding back, I'm like, oh, he's probably gonna, like, return or, like, man up or something will happen.
Yeah.
He doesn't, and then all of a sudden it goes through, like, 50 years, just super quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of, like, fishy, like, with the way the movie's been pacing, why would they just all of a sudden mess it up like that?
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like the way the movie was going. And then when he, like, unveiled the rag, or scarf, or whatever the belt was, his head comes off. And you said this too, I thought that the guy banging on the door was the Green Knight. And the Green Knight's like, fuck you.
He was, like, returning to do him in, basically.
Yeah.
His head falls off, and there are a lot of great moments during that. This is exclusively if you've seen the movie, because we're kind of like ramming off things that only someone who's seen it would understand, unless you just don't care about spoilers and are listening to this anyways. But there are a lot of good moments, and you could definitely see why Gawain at the end took out the belt thing, the scarf, the green scarf, at the end, because he like kind of had that vision of what he would become. You know, he has the baby with his girlfriend that he had, and then he leaves her in poverty to become the king and marries some like assumably rich person. Yeah. And he's at that point I was like, wow, this, like, he kind of turned into an asshole right there. So when he saw that and he finally pulls out the green belt rag thing out of his, like, around here,
it was a test to show courage, like, I'll die a man. Yeah,
so he does that, and then his head falls off in the vision, and then we jump back to him kneeling in front of the Green Knight, and then he takes off the rag thing, and then I'm calling it like a bunch of different things. The belt, the green piece of cloth, and then the Green Knight is like, well done, and then he says, you succeeded, my knight, or something. You have a lot of courage. Off with your head, and that was the final line of the movie. And I did like that final line. I thought it was like made you smile a bit, and then the movie ended.
Yeah, it was a good ending. I like it.
I thought it was a great ending. And
it was a feel-good. It was almost like a feel-good movie.
At the end, it was like, wow, he succeeded, and
puts you at an all-time low, and then brings you back to all-time high.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. And also, oh man, what was I gonna? Oh yeah, the green rag, the green piece of cloth, that has all of a sudden at the end that has a whole different meaning, because you saw like the cum inside it when he squeezed out, and it was just kind of like a random moment, and you kind of, well, it turned out not to be random, and you kept on seeing it come back too. Like, he would see it on himself, tied around himself, and the camera would specifically go to it.
It's his insecurities. Like, that's him being insecure, and he always wears the scarf, and I think that flashback was to represent how much he'll live in fear, almost.
Yeah.
If he just, like, hides behind this cloth, or piece of cloth.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, I think. And then when he rids himself of it, he basically not only succeeded at the game, but also, like, almost as a person. And then the movie ends, and I think it's good that the movie ended right there, because you can expect that things went well for him when he got back to the castle and didn't turn into an asshole or anything like that, and led a happy life in the end. But anyways, back to the non-spoiler stuff. I think that's about it, honestly. The visuals in this movie are insane. I kind of forget if we mentioned that earlier, but there's, like, you mentioned with the sound design, everything technical with this movie, like the way it looks, the cinematography,
it's very good.
Sound design, score, everything is fucking really good.
For me, it was, this isn't even a spoiler, it's the scene where he's in the bed and there's the cloth all around him, and he's, like, kind of naked, but, like, the blanket's covering, like, certain parts. It almost looked like a, old Roman portrait or painting, almost.
Okay.
It was very Renaissance-like, which I really liked.
Yeah. There's another part when he jumps into a pond or something like a pond or swamp to do something for that lady,
spring,
which I mentioned earlier. And he jumps in there and there's like some great green lighting and then it turns red. And the sound of that part and just like the fades between that, I thought like in the theater, again, it was like a really cool experience. I thought it was really cool. And I thought they did a good job with that. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching this review. I suppose we could give our grade out of 10. On Letterboxd, we both gave 4 out of 5 stars, which is really good. And so I think out of 10, we could give our score. I would probably give The Green Knight an 8.5 out of 10.
Ooh, okay.
So what would you give it, do you think?
I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. It was solid. It met my expectations and it pleased me.
And we do have, like, different ways to grade things. It's not like we're going off the same scale here. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave comments down below if you've seen The Green Knight and what you thought about it. Try to avoid spoilers in the comments for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, possibly scrolling down there. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Bye.